The 7 deadly sins of debt. Have you heard of that before? Do you know what it is? Well, I'll take you on a journey and you'll start to understand what I'm talking about. For many young people, they don't even know what debt is. They may have an inkling of it because, like me, they might have parents that seemed always stressed about money and they were always talking about paying things back. But back then I didn't know about interest rates. I had no idea what debt was. I just saw the anxiety and stress around bills when they took it out of the envelopes and started looking at the mail. So what's the first one? Well, if a lot of loving parents try and give their kids a hard head start, and often they show that with money. So what do? The first thing is they give their kids a debit card and they load some cash on, or they sign off and getting them a very low credit card with a very low interest rate. Now, what does that do? The kids don't make the money, they don't know where their money comes from, and they spend the money. Now, all of a sudden, they've started a habit of spending money they don't have. Now, by the time they hit 18, they've already got the habit, and now if they've got a little bit of work, or that they can actually go and get their own credit card. And at 18, they can sign off and they can get a higher credit limit, $1,000, $2,000, depending on what they're doing. And most of the time, they're spending that to the whole maximum. And then they're paying it off with small increments of repayments and basically paying interest on that. That's the second step. Now, what's the third step? Well, quite often they go off to a greater university. They might then get a part-time job where they're studying and make a little bit more money again, or work part-time, permanent part-time in between studies, and they may go and get a personal loan for a car to run around. It's another debt. It's hire purchase in many cases, with a balloon payment, a residual, different things there, but again, a higher interest rate on a larger amount of money. They're locked into that now and committed. Now, if they can pay that out sooner and reduce the debt, no harm, no play. But if that continues to carry on, or you miss any repayments, it can affect your credit history. Now, let's go a step further on beyond that. They finish university, they've got a job, they want to reward themselves, or they want to go out and basically find a mate. So what do? They go and spend money either on going on a holiday, buying clothes, decking themselves out to find a partner, or go and have some fun on a holiday. Either way, they take a short-term loan to get that money to go and have that fun or set themselves up for the next phase. And let's say then they do find their partner, and obviously their expenses, they decide to start a family, or they're thinking about starting a family. So they then think, wow, we need to get security. So let's go and buy a house. Now, of course, a home has a mortgage, and many people don't realize that mortgage is for 25 to 30 years. And if you agree to the lowest interest rate, which you may think is a good idea, you're committing to that 30-year loan. Now, if that's $1 million debt, which is pretty common these days, you'll be paying back over $1 million in interest. Now, think of many people who have started that journey and basically wanted the home, wanted the family, and then once they got a few years down the track, all of a sudden it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Now they've lost an income because often mum's looking after the kids, expenses have gone up, and now it just seems like all they do is work to pay the interest and pay the bills. And life gets pretty tough then. It can affect relationships, it can affect health, it can affect mental health, physical health, strain in relationships, a whole bunch of things. So guys, your home is a bad debt because the reality is you commit to it. Now, I'm not saying buying a home is a bad idea, but there's smarter ways to do it, and you don't have to keep up with the Joneses. And maybe sometimes renting a property and buying an investment could be a better solution, or thinking of something a little bit smaller or not as new to keep the debt level down. But guys, if you're not conscious and aware of this journey, you can end up in a world of debt and be stuck there. And soon, just like a country where the economy's GDP can't repay their interest on the loans, your life can become like that, where your interest repayments then start to mount up, and now your income after expenses can only just service the interest, and you can't even pay down the principal. Guess what happens then? Life's not much fun. It is beans and rice. There is no more holidays. You may have to sell the car. You may even have to sell the house if you don't get a good plan. So if you want to learn more about that, I've put up some really great quizzes, free quizzes, and basic processes you can go through to take control of your finances and develop the skills so you become a master money. You get financial security where you take control and make wise, conscious decisions to set up the future you really want, and use debt wisely, understanding good debt and bad debt and how to use them effectively to make your dreams and realities come true in a smart way, not a fantasy way. And then you'll get the results you deserve.